Welcome everybody to the Level Up Show. I'm Sean T. McIntyre. I am so excited for today's guest. He's a speaker, author, entrepreneur with an incredible mission to inspire 1 billion people into happiness. He also has an incredible story of personal transformation, which we're going to dive in a little bit today. But I want to welcome to the show, Dr. David Meltzer. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sean. It's such a pleasure to be here and continuing my mission, just as one clarification, to empower over 1 billion people. Don't limit me. And I teach people never to limit themselves.
I love it. I love it. Great catch and great correction. So, David, in the personal development transformation space, I've been hearing your name now for over a year. And so I'm so excited to have you on. And what I realized is your story, a little bit that I know, is actually very similar to mine. Growing up with a single dad who left when I was a year old, and then facing a lot of challenges. And then, that forced me into really wanting to create a better life. And then, of course, that brought on new challenges as well. But the one thing I love about your story, David, is going from, say, lack to developing success externally, to then perhaps losing it and then having to bounce back. That's quite a journey, isn't it?
It was an amazing journey of meaning, and the relationship of the meaning I was giving the journey to the perspective of abundance. So like you, I'm sure you grew up with not enough. And that's a mindset that's difficult to move on from. I've met, and you and I are blessed to be around billionaires, millionaires, entrepreneurs, celebrities, athletes, and entertainers. And a lot of times the reason they have achieved such external success is because of the mindset of not enough. So they're always trying to compete. And I moved from compete to a transformation of complete. And complete is a mindset of abundance, that there's infinite, there's more than enough of everything for everyone, that I no longer have to strive for more happiness, more health, more wealth, and more worthiness. Instead, I got to figure out what I'm doing to interfere with it, because I live in a world of complete, not a world of compete.
Wow, absolutely. Absolutely. And we have lots of entrepreneurs, business owners here watching and listening. So the one thing that I get asked quite a bit, and you probably see this with all of your clients that you work with as well, and corporations that you speak with, is it's interesting how we can make those changes outside and we can think that it's going well. And then it's like, all of a sudden we hit this, what I call threshold or barrier, and then we get spit back if we're not careful, right? And so I found there's this inner strength or, mindset that we have to develop, which is exactly what you're saying. But it's sometimes more difficult to see it or feel it than how we might be perceiving it. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. And, I've defined that. Actually, I have a term for that, and it's called the glamorized stuck. And what happens is that everyone has glamorized our success. I ran Samsung's phone division. I was a multi-millionaire, and then ran Lee Steinberg Sports and Entertainment, the most notable sports agency. So I was worth over $100 million and had access that billionaires didn't have access to. Sideline passes and backstage and on stage, and every stage I could get to and everyone I could be around. And it was a glamorized stuck. It's one of the most challenging, empty, interfering existences when you know the truth and you're living, and this is where imposter syndrome comes from. You're living what is other people's dreams, but you're living your reality, knowing that you are not living your dream, that you have lost who you are, and you have lost to take stock in who you are and what you want to become.
Wow. So well said. I love that, David. that's so true from my own experience and everyone that I also work with. It's like the outside world can very often give us our values, give us the mindset, and very often makes us feel the emotions we're feeling. And so sometimes we get lost in, well, who am I in all of this versus what I've been taught. So that's so powerful. What would you say, David, though, that going from a lack mentality to, and I've heard you say this, just enough, is to where even if you have all the things externally, say money, a relationship, health, I look a certain way, and then losing it all, what's the difference between lack and loss of things externally to then starting over with, say, what's my real mentality? Who am I? How do you begin to make that journey? Because that seems to be more prevalent than ever before from what I'm seeing.
I've spent weeks, months, and years studying this, and the best way I can articulate it is, number one, that whether you're in a not enough or a just enough or a more than enough mindset, that you can be an appreciator. You can be grateful. You can literally add value in every single one of those worlds. The not enough, when you're a victim, everything's happening to you, you still can be appreciative, and people are. And then you have that just enough where you're buying things you don't need to impress people you don't like, just enough trading and negotiating everything. You still can be an appreciator. And of course, in the abundant world of more than enough, an infinite world of everything for everyone, where the law of love applies, it's easy to be an appreciator. But what you're talking about is something, the second step of being in the flow or being inspired, and it's called acknowledgement. See, acknowledgement is acquiring the knowledge of what we have externally and internally. And there's only one way, Sean, that we can acknowledge things. You can only acknowledge what you have externally or internally by not having it anymore. So how do we not have what we have? One, we can give it away. And a lot of people are motivated and inspired to give away everything they have. But even more valuable than giving it away, it can be lost or stolen or manipulated or cheated from us. So not only do we attain acknowledgement or acquire the knowledge of what we have, but we learn lessons with it as well, so that we don't have to acknowledge the same lesson again, because we actually learn from the acknowledgement. And then the third step, which provides this acceleration, expansion, this enlightenment, this awareness, is called asking. See, the final step of being in an abundant world is to have enough faith that I am not taking away from you when I ask you for help, when I ask you for anything. See, in a zero-sum game, a world of just enough, when I ask you for something, I'm taking away from you. In my world of more than enough, when I ask you for help, I am adding value to your life. In fact, the miracle of the law of love, the miracle of the holidays, is to live in abundance, to know that when I ask Sean for help, that I'm adding value to Sean, because I know how I feel when people ask me for help, and I'm capable of giving it to them. And this transformation from just enough to more than enough is about appreciating, acknowledging, and asking for more, so I can appreciate more, acknowledge more, and even ask for more. In other words, I'm an influencer, not an influencer. I'm spreading the flow. I'm not spreading dis-ease. I'm at ease.
Wow. Powerful. Very powerful. And what I'm hearing you saying is that's summarizing so many aspects. When you say flow, you're talking about the spiritual aspects of energy and consciousness. You're talking about taking action in the outside world, and also this feeling dimension within us, And yeah, that to me just seems to summarize so many aspects of what I call circulation, being able to breathe in, breathe out, but, give away. And just like nature, just like so many aspects is circulation, right? And not hanging on to something to where we become stagnant, whether that be money, whether that be a certain daily routine or anything. Would you agree or comment on that, whether we're talking about health or wealth or business or even building a relationship, that it comes down to this circulation or to this flow, no matter what it is that we say that we really want?
Absolutely. Everything is energy. So let's take money, which is one of the most interfering concepts that people have because
Yeah.
they don't understand money itself. I spent half my life thinking that money would buy me love or happiness. And when I finally realized that money was just energy, then I could realize that money was still important because money doesn't buy love or happiness, but it allows us to seek, it allows us to shop. And if we shop or ask or seek with money for the right things in our lives, like giving, losing, being manipulated, cheated, will bring joy, abundance, and happiness to us. So when we build community centers in Africa, when we empower junior achievement, the 15 to 25-year-old entrepreneurs of the world who will change the world, and we allow and we take care of our wives and our kids and whoever it is in our community that's most important to us, we now create abundance or fulfillment, passion and purpose and profitability continue to flow. All energy flows. And you talked about air. I focus my life at its basis to make sure that that which is necessary to stay alive is in the flow. So one, we need air. So I make sure that I'm practicing breathing because I want one of the necessities to stay alive to be at ease. So I practice that. Another one is food. So we need food to live. And so I'm at ease now in the flow with making sure that I'm not interfering with my health, with what I eat, that I'm at ease, I'm medicinal with my food. Sleep is the most ignored of all. Air's obvious. Food, most people understand. They don't necessarily practice both of those that they should, but sleep is overlooked, which is ironic because it takes, 26 years on average of our lives that we spend sleeping. And it is the number one consistent habit that human beings have, right? And that's intentional. And so I practice that as well. And so, when we look at these necessities of life, we can build off of those necessities of being at ease, understanding the energetic benefit of all energies. Are we appreciating the energy, acknowledging the energy, and asking for more of the energy so we can appreciate it, acknowledge it, and even ask for more? And here's what happens in most people's life, Sean, in this mechanism that we're talking about. And I'll use my mom as an example because it might apply to a family member that you know. My mom lived her entire life, single mom, 6 kids, working 2 jobs, appreciating everything she had. And you know what she did? She expanded because she added value to everything she had. She, her students, her children, her community, women's rights, all these things she appreciated. So she had this great expansion, and then she gave it all away. And now she had a bigger vessel, and guess what she never did? She never refilled it. She kept giving and giving and giving. And so instead of expanding and expanding and expanding with more to appreciate and more to give, more to lose, more to be manipulated and cheated, she just dissipated, dissolved. And now at 80 years old, she's in a position she doesn't want to be in because she actually needs to ask for help. But she forgot the third principle of expansion, growth, and acceleration, which is abundance. And those who live in abundance, those who live in a value-add world have no problem asking for more because they know they're adding value and adding more by asking for more, not taking away, negotiating, or in some zero-sum game. And so many people live their life with such great intention: teachers, doctors, service providers, trainers, moms, dads. And I want all those people out there to start asking for more, to live in faith that there's more than enough of everything for everyone.
Totally agree. Totally agree. And that takes courage to ask. And
humility.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I found, even with myself, what you're talking about, David, is in order for me to ask outside, it took me having to ask more of myself to go to, quote unquote, another level of thinking, another level of being willing to feel beyond what it was that I currently felt, whether it was, whatever emotion about money and whatever feeling I was experiencing in relationships as a dad, husband, son, you name it, businessman. How important do you think healing is on this journey that we take? It might come back to humility, but
yeah, well, it brings up an epiphany of 2022 for me. One of the biggest lessons that I learned. Now, I research every day. I'm more interested than interesting most of the day. Ego still exists. But here's one of my greatest epiphanies of 2022. I am one thought, usually one humble, forgiving thought, away from being healed, to being at ease. Just all it takes is one. So when I have a need to be right, to be separate, to be inferior, superior, anxious, frustrated, angry, guilty, resentful, all of these things, that occur every day. In fact, I think that everyone gets kicked in the face on average about 8 times a day. It's who can quickly find the thought, the forgiving, humble thought that puts them at peace or at ease. And so I use time as a dependent variable of all matter in my life, subjective and objective matter. Activity I plan, don't have planned, and my sleep, productivity, accessibility, and gratitude, my mindset, heart set, and handset all have a dependent variable of time that says the only way I can quantify my growth is by how much time it takes me to get back to ease, to heal myself. And all it takes is one thought to put me at ease. And that thought, that humble, forgiving thought, sometimes is very difficult to have. And I'm practicing how quickly can I get to that thought that puts me and heals me and puts me at ease.
Wow. Very well said. I love that. Absolutely. That's very powerful, David. When we're talking about your way to practice that, do you have specific routines or rituals that you go into? The routine and ritual question. But
Yes,
everyone, whether we're talking about food or relationships, there's a certain amount of preparation or a certain amount of being prepared or being willing to show up. Would you agree?
Absolutely. This is one of my favorite questions to talk about. And it's because practice, number one, most people don't put it into the vernacular or the perspective of practice. I practice everything. That's the only way you get better, right?
Yes.
The only thing that's instant in good behavior or bad behavior that you may consistently practice or once in a while perform, the only thing that's instantaneously is progress. The thing is that the instantaneous progress is not, you're not capable of being aware of. So we have to continue to practice good behavior until we can become aware of the progress that it's creating. And this is every entrepreneur's problem, every nutrition every workout problem, every habit problem is because that we want instant result, and the only instant result we get is progress that's not noticeable or we can't be aware of. So good behaviors we normally quit because we don't see the progress, and bad behaviors we continue because we don't see the progress. And so I created 5 daily practices that allow us to accelerate in the trajectory of what we think we want. And I put them as daily because the only limitation of the present is 24 hours. And so I base everything off of today. And these 5 daily practices are these, and I'm happy to send them to everyone. 1, know your what. Every day, you should be asking yourself, what do I want today? Personally, what do I want? Experientially, what do I want? Considering all the external things that are going on, because every day is different. You know, when COVID hit from March 17th to 18th, what I wanted changed dramatically. And what I wanted today did not change dramatically for what I wanted yesterday, because there wasn't much external change, right? If I lived in Minnesota or Wisconsin, because it's -20, I bet my personal and experiential daily wants today changed dramatically for those people. Then what do I want to give? And what do I want to receive? What do I want to produce? What do I want to receive? Once I know my what as the first daily practice, then I want to create statistical success and acceleration of what I want in the context of today. How do I do that? Number 1, who can help me with what I want? Fastest way to get to where you want to be or what you want is to find someone that has it or is already there and ask them for directions. The second way to add statistical success, which then adds to the acceleration, is to find people and help them get to where they want to be with what you want. Helping other people get to where they want to be creates a community of people who want to help each other and know people who want to help each other, which only accelerates and adds to statistical success today of what you want. The third daily practice is know how. So now this is where time really comes in. How am I using the activity I planned, the activity I don't have planned, and my sleep in order to effectuate the productivity, accessibility, and gratitude that I want, the light, the love, and the lessons that I want from what I want and who I can help and who can help me? Once I know my what, my who, and my how, the fourth daily practice is know your now. See, this is the secret sauce, the confirmation that you're doing the work. Prioritization. When I'm interviewing someone, when I'm looking at someone, I keen in onto what are you prioritizing today? Because if they can't articulate what they're prioritizing today, they can't be productive, accessible, and gracious because they don't have the antidote to feeling overwhelmed or procrastinating, which is 2 of the things that make us stick. So what I teach is a process of knowing every day what's important to you by the what, the who, and the how, and then how to prioritize, because once you know how to prioritize what's important to you, you get so much more done. Number 1, because 100% of the things you do now get done, and they get done most efficiently because on average, it takes more than 2 times as much time to do things that you don't do now than to do them later. That's given math. Now, listen to me on step 5 because it's so critical. If you know your what, your who, your how, and your now, you now can know your why. And when you know your why, you're not in search of inspiration. You're not in search of what you already have. You're not in search of getting more happy, more healthy, more wealthy, and more worthy. You are. And now you're applying your why to what you already are. I am happy. I am healthy. I am wealthy. I am worthy. I'm going to apply my why, my inspiration, my intellect, and my intuition to clear the interference between me and the abundant, infinite, all-powerful, omniscient source of my why. And I'm going to use it to clear it. So what? I get more. Why? Because I'm living in a value-add world of more than enough of everything for everyone. I'm living by the law of love, of abundance. And now it perpetuates on itself. The only limitations I have to be aware of, besides the 24 hours of today for my what, my who, my how, my now, and my why, is that I want to make sure the meaning of my past is aligned with the trajectory of what I think I want today. So as long as the meaning of my bankruptcy is one of, protection and promotion, not punishment, in that trajectory, now all I have to worry about, if my meanings are aligned, my practices are aligned, now I just have to be aware of the 8 times a day I get kicked in the face to get out of my own way instead of accelerating in the wrong trajectory. Because I know my trajectory, my meanings align with the trajectory, my daily activities are aligned with my trajectory, my prioritization and my why are aligned. So when my ego kicks in and says, oh, you have a need to be superior because of the success you're having by knowing all this, I stop. I don't try to resist it, go over it, under it, through it, around it. I don't accelerate in the wrong trajectory after all that work I've done, right? All the glamorized stuck I'm in. I simply stop. I breathe through the nose, out through the mouth. I breathe. I remind, remember, and recollect to source. I'm at ease. I remind to the big one. I recollect with the big one. I remember with the big one. And then I roll back into the right trajectory of the daily practices, not into the wrong trajectory. This combination of the past, present, and future, this combination of daily practices with the meaning of knowing what you want in a trajectory of what you think you want will accelerate you to more than enough. That is the secret sauce of routine and practice.
I love that. That is so great. That is so great. And that just like summarizes the real happiness, right? Versus the, oh, I just want you to be happy. That's like, boom. That's like progress. That is expansion. That is growth. That is spirituality. That is abundance. That is brilliant. That's what that is. So
thank you, my brother.
Wow. So David, where can we follow more about everything you're doing, you know, your travels, everything you're doing? Where can we follow what you're doing? Social media.
We have books, guides, exercise, free Friday training for over 23 years. Anything, TV shows, movies, everything I do. Just remember my name, David Meltzer. I actually answer all my own emails. And for your community, I offer not only the daily practices, but I'll sign a book, pay for the book and shipping, and send it to your entire audience. Email me, david@dmeltzer.com. If you forget the email of david@dmeltzer.com, Google David Meltzer. I've done my job. I'm everywhere. So access me. Just Google me, David Meltzer. And Sean, I want to do more with you. What great alignment we have in a mission to empower abundance and happiness to everyone on earth.
Thank you so much. And it would be my absolute honor. This has just been, you know, a genius session. I love the way that you've taken your time, your energy, and I'll be posting all those links as well on replays, podcasts, and so definitely. And let's connect again, David.
Thank you, sir. Take care. Everyone have a great holiday.
Same to you. All right. Bye for now, everyone.